welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Welcome back to my live stream. This is Jacob Cass 2024. We're going to talk about WWE Friday Night Smackdown. Smackdown jumping off the air, but I'm going to show you guys the ending on how the show ends and where we think the story's going to go. Also, the build to Survivor Series, it had begun. Now we will talk about what happened on SmackDown. We'll talk about the news and rumors. We will talk about AEW Dynamite that happened on Wednesday, and we'll talk about NFT. So we got a lot to talk about. Now, I'm gonna make this live stream about an hour and 20 minutes. We'll see how it is. Make sure you guys hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think about my video and about this live stream and about what's going on in the wrestling world, AEW and WWE. Now, my video, my YouTube channel is also sponsored by my other favorite YouTubers and other podcasters that I know of, like JD from New York, Salamoto Sound Off, Fightful Wrestling, and other podcasters. Alright, so let's get right into it. Wait, hold on. Just want to make sure we talk about SmackDown here.
It's time to reveal something that represents exactly that. A new symbol of excellence in WWE.
Hold on.
The WWE Women's United States Championship. This championship will not be awarded, will not be handed over. It will be earned by whoever's willing to go above and beyond and seize the moment. Ladies, opportunity knocks. It's time to answer and make history.
So, I might well start off with this. So, what happened tonight on SmackDown, as you guys know, Nick Gallagher just introduced a women's mid-card title. For the first time in WWE, we have a mid-card title for the woman on the main roster. It's called the WWE United States Championship. I think the title was fine. Now, I think the belt is the same as the regular US title for the men, but this one's different because it said woman and it has a white strap. They finally have a mid-card title. I don't think it's needed. I don't think it's necessary. Now, is it gonna float between shows? Because I don't think a mid-card title is needed because you already have one for the woman. I don't think the belt gonna last long. It won't. It won't. I give it a few months or maybe a year. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on, I got to edit out first. So make sure you guys leave a comment and give me your thoughts and opinion. What you guys think about the new woman title? This is a mid-card title for the woman. But what show is it gonna be on? Is it gonna be on SmackDown or on Raw? We'll have to wait and see. Alright, so we got next week on SmackDown we got what's my bad, hold on. Let me turn on the volume. Want to show you guys the massive for next week. Hold on. Alright. So we got Nia Jax and Naomi for the Women's Championship next Friday. Nia Jax didn't defend the belt at Crown Jewel, so she's gonna defend it next week. I don't think she's gonna defend it at Survivor Series either, so why not they give this away for free next week on SmackDown? Should be a good match. No one expects Naomi to win. Nia Jax is gonna retain. They're still dancing with her and Tiffany Stratton. Under my teaser casting. Next Friday, we got Motor City Machine Gun defend their new tag team championship against the Street Profits. Should be a good match. We're looking forward to it. We did see that conversation. We saw that conversation earlier in the show with the the, the Street Profit, mostly machine guns and DIY. Now this should be a good match. This is the first time that they will defend their titles. Oh wait, hold on. Is that it or there more? Alright, alright. Here here's the bloodline. There's Solo. Alright. Now this is the ending of the show. Alright. Hold on. Get back. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. We're coming to the end of the show here.
Buffalo.
Basic, can y'all hear it? Let me know y'all can hear it. I'm about to show it. Alright. Now, this is the end of the show. This is the segment of the show tonight. I'm only gonna play the audio. I'm not gonna show like the video.
Acknowledge me.
Alright. Alright. Can y'all hear it?
Buffalo. Do you acknowledge him?
Um, can y'all hear it?
Neither do I. I won't ever acknowledge you. I'm here to challenge you. One-on-one. Winner is the only tribal chief. Woo! The winner is the only tribal. I don't need a fight too. I'm already the undisputed tribal chief, baby. And in case you haven't noticed, Roman, all these people acknowledge me. As a matter of fact, you can't become a tribal chief, and there's no tribe. Oh, and you want to challenge me? As a matter of fact, let me challenge you. Let me challenge you, Roman. I challenge you to go and find 4 people back there in the locker room that will team up with you.
Wait, he said 4 people. Don't you mean 3? I know what's going on here.
That will team up with you. That will team up with you, and we can go to war. Yeah, Roman, I know you like to go to war. We always ready for war. Hold on. You talking about war games? I only see 4 of you. One, two, guy is my dog, Sami Zayn.
It's not really Sami Zayn. I mean, Sami. Oh, look at this.
Assaulted by the bloodline with a shocker tonight. The fact that Sami Zayn has joined Solo and Company. It's not a shock that anyone who knows Sami Zayn. Oh, fought two. The Samoan Warriors taking out everybody as Solo and Sikoa directs traffic. And now Solo, the new tribal chief. In the original tribal chief, Solo going for the Samoan spike, much like he did at Crown Jewel. I'm here. Sami, I'm here now. Solo just called for Sami Zayn. Well, they want Sami to do the dirty work. Sami to prove himself to the bloodline and take out Reigns. Kick him in the face. Kick him in the face. Remember what you can do. Sami, forward me. Kick him in the face. Kick him in the face. Remember what he did to you. Come on. Here. Oh! Sami with a head attack and Solo for Solo. Here comes Fatu. Fatu upset over this. Superman punched by Reigns. Hello, kick by Sami. Roman Reigns. Knocked him out with a spear. Not the way that Solo wanted the tribal chief acknowledgement ceremony to go.
Crowd going crazy. Crowd loves it. Oh, wait, hold on. Just hear the moment. Look at this moment. Hold on. Just wanted to show my fans this moment with all them in the ring, just like at Crown Jewels. Loves it. It's going crazy. And there it is. The bloodline reunited. All of them with the ones up in the air. That easy, huh? It felt kind of rushed. Or maybe this is all a test for Woman and Sam to get along. We got the OG bloodline against the other bloodline. Who's gonna win? It's clearly gonna be 4-on-4. It's not gonna be 5-on-5. I don't know what someone was talking about. It's gonna be 4-on-4. If it's 5-on-5, then who's gonna be the fifth person? Cody Rhodes is the only one that makes sense, but do we need Cody Rhodes involved with the bloodline? No. He should be champion. He should be feuding with Kevin Owens or Randy Orton. And Cody Rhodes does get involved. That means The Rock guy get involved, and we all know, okay, The Rock get involved. That gonna tell a story that sets up what could happen down the line. I get the real high chief. He's the real final boss. He's the one pulling the string, calling the shots. Now, who wins the bloodline? Obviously, I think the good bloodline has to win here. Since Solo and the bloodline went over at Crown, but think it bet that the OG bloodline goes over here.
It seems like we have a loose alliance of original bloodline members set to do battle at Wargames. A scene we never believed we would see ever again. But did Jimmy, Jay, and Roman trust Sammy as the guy watching their back in the match beyond? 3 weeks from tomorrow.
Crazy. That was a great ending.
Survivor Series War Games. The new bloodline and the original bloodline.
Well, that was Monday Night Raw. All right, now we can go into the news and rumors. Let's talk about what happened on the show here. All right, here we go. Sami Zayn rejoined the Bloodline. The Bloodline reunite. Cody Rhodes was on the show, but he didn't really do much. He actually didn't. Cody Rhodes was an afterthought on this show. Kind of sad that, and Cody Rhodes is your world champion, but he was an afterthought on this show. He wasn't in a segment. Now he was there helping Randy Orton. Honestly, like, to me, there's only like 2 important storylines on SmackDown: Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, and this blood that they're doing, and that's it. Nothing else. Now here are the news and rumors. Major change for Netflix.
I paid for my own college, so I knew I'd have to start accumulating a lot of money, paying student loans. WWE supposedly has major
It says here. Oh, wait, hold on.
plans for the move of Monday Night Raw to Netflix. But what are those major plans? Could we be seeing an end to the WWE brand split? We got all that and the latest right here on Off the Script. Also, Bill Goldberg has recently come out and stated his retirement match will indeed be in WWE in 2025. But when and where will that happen? I got the latest on that. A Becky Lynch rumor killer has been floating around the IWC. And the latest on Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. What is the plan for the Young Bucks and the return of Kenny Omega to AEW television? All this and so much more right here. Take off the rest of 2024. Meltzer wrote there is no set timetable for a return past. It'll be for a while. And
Alright, so those were the news and rumors. Now this is NXT. This was on Wednesday. NXT invade the ECW arena. It was a very lame ECW tribute in the arena. So as you guys know, NXT 1, 2, 300 arena for the first time ever with a major former WWE returning. We had NXT champion Trick Williams with the Hall of Famer Bumblebee Dudley against Ethan Page and Riz Holland in a huge 10 woman tag team match with Gogola, Stephanie. We had Jordan Zera, Jordan Jade team up against Roxanne, Cora, and Fatal Influence. Lola Vice and Jedi Parker battle in a hardcore match with Dawn Marie as the special guest referee. And we had Javon Evans go one-on-one with Wesley. As for AEW Dynamite, we have Malachi Black said goodbye to AEW. The rumors of him leaving the company. They said here that Malachi Black debunked rumors of AEW demise. Fans are speculating that Black had seen his last days in AEW after losing to Adam Cole, and the continuation of the Death Rider versus AEW storyline. Art Cassidy and Darby team to take on Claudio and Pac. Ricochet has a mystery tag team partner. In return with Hobbs against Kyle Fetzer and Kodosei Takada. And Chris Jericho along with the Learning Tree battle of Colo, what that say? In a Rule Without Honor match. Alright. Lashley's whole idea with Made the Refeud. These are the other news and rumors. I think I already saw these. Alright. Now here's the news and rumors right here. Now this is what we saw on Smackdown. Sami Zayn had to set up Bloodline Chaos as he lead the Smackdown. Nick Aldis canceled the Grayson Waller effect. Instead, Grayson Waller and Austin Theory had a tag team match with Mosley Machine Gun and a decent match. Now this is what opened the show. The only thing that mattered on this show was everything with the Bloodline and Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Cody Rhodes was an afterthought. Kind of sad he's the world champion. He wouldn't do anything. He wasn't even in a segment. He was out there helping Randy Orton. That was it. He's not being used. He might fit Kevin Owens at Survivor Series. I don't know. So anyway, we got this whole thing with the Bloodline. We got the Usos out there, Sami Zayn out there, Roman Reigns out there. Roman Reigns refuses to apologize. I think it was all setting up that the Bloodline were going to leave him again, but instead they came back. Roman Reigns is left all alone. We had Bayley scores a win over Candice LeRae. Tommaso Ciampa goes unhinged against Pretty Deadly. They won the match without him tagging in his partner Gargano. I think they're setting up a Tommaso Ciampa heel turn. It looked that way. They could be leading to that. I think it well needed. DIY been a team on the main roster for over a year now. They need something. They won a tag team title, but it's a transitional one. Ciampa could be turning heel, could be going solo. We could see Ciampa in the singles division. Now here's Kevin Owens, power drive Randy Orton. Beat up Randy Orton. Orton got stretched out the arena with Cody Rhodes by his side. And there Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes wouldn't do anything on this show. I think we will get another Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens match at Survivor Series, maybe with a stipulation. And then we'll see what happens. Now Randy Orton gonna go while he'll sell the attack. Hopefully he turns heel and get Cody and Randy. We don't know when, but clearly they're setting up Cody and Kevin Owens again. Now they're the new single champion for the woman on the main roster. Nick Aldis announced the Women United States Championship. Why they call United States Champion? That's the best they can do. Now this is a mid card title for the woman. Now my issue is this gonna be on Raw or SmackDown, or is it gonna fall between so because we don't need all these titles. First of all, they have a mid card title on NXT. You don't need it for the main roster. Now, they probably could. They know that the women tag team titles are worthless and irrelevant and garbage, and there's no division. Bianca and Jay aren't doing anything with those belts. So, yeah, sure, let's make a mid-card title. The way how SmackDown is booked, there is no way that this is going to be on SmackDown. Put this on Raw. And that's it. Now, alright, so we got Bianca and Jade defeated Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton with the help of Naomi. She went after Candice LeRae. Now those two are through feuding. We got the A-Town Down Under against mostly machine guns and a decent match. It was there to fill time for the card. Solo lays out the challenge for Wargames. Wargames is being set. Alright.
Domino's new 5-cheese mac and cheese is creamy, cheesy, oven baked to bubbly perfection. But it's also tasty.
Ask the pathetic.
The original Bloodline get back for Survivor Series.
You know? Yeah, I hope it does. He says right there. He said,
Is an incredible opportunity for independent wrestlers.
New Bloodline signee. New Bloodline signee. First WID revealed. Another member of the Samoan Dynasty signed with WWE. I wonder who that's going to be. Also, WID's reveal first recruits. Also, WWE announced 2025 Elimination Chamber. The Chamber pay-per-view will be on March 1st. So in 2025 we got the Royal Rumble on February 1st, and then we got the Chamber on March 1st. So that gives like a month. That's like almost 2 months of build for WrestleMania. Yeah. So we got that set up.
He just threw it at the wall, like trying to figure out if the spaghetti's done or not.
I'm with you. There was efficiency was my main critique of the episode. Like the content was fine. It was just the time being allotted to stuff. But finally, we get to our first match of the night, and it's with Bayley and Candice LeRae.
Okay, so let's see what Denise had to say. We got Denise Salcedo and Robin. I'm not gonna talk about their review on SmackDown. Might we'll just skip ahead.
Heavy Uso.
You know me, man. I'm all about the honorary ooze. We got a lot of bloodline stuff to get into. We got a major announcement for the women. Those are really the two big things that went down in this show. But let's go ahead and jump right in. Robin, where do we even begin? Do we want to start with the bloodline stuff? Do we want to start with the women's championship? Maybe the women's championship. We'll start there.
Sure, because I'm sure we'll talk plenty about the bloodline stuff. I mean, I think it's well overdue. I mean, I don't know how many times, Denise, I feel like we've been on this show and had the same conversation, and perhaps I've repeated the same talking points about how stacked the women's roster is, how they're doing a good job developing all these different women within the story, even at the not at the expense of the men, but in contrast to the men at times. And there's no mid-card title, right? So what are they doing it for unless they're going for one of the big belts or obviously the tag belts? So I do think it was past due. I'm wondering if there's going to be an Intercontinental on top of the U.S. And they throw that over on the Raw brand, and that way you have two mid-card titles. But regardless, I think it was well past due. There was plenty of talent for it, and you can add a little gravitas to the feuds, to some of the characters, to some of the in-between stuff, rather than everybody having to taste it.
So, by the way, I think they said Nick Aldis mentioned both Raw and SmackDown superstars. So, I know it's like very quick when he mentioned it in the video because he did say something Raw and SmackDown in the actual video. So, I took it as okay, if you're United States champion, you can sort of bounce around, sort of like you do with the women's tag team. That's what I understood. If somebody else caught that a little bit better, please let me clarify in the chat in case I got that wrong. But we do have a brand new title for the women, and that is United States Championship. Now, a lot of fans had been asking for another championship bout. Of course, you got your two main titles for the women, and then you got the tag team titles for the women. Now we have the U.S. title, which will be, the mid-card title for whatever else is happening in the mid-card scene for the women's division. Now, prior to this, Robin, I was on the boat of like, I'm totally cool with them bringing in another title for the women, but I did want them to sort of build their women's tag team division a little bit stronger, just because those are the championship belts that we have right now. And I also wanted them to build more stronger contenders for the actual championship picture. But I'm not gonna lie, the second I saw that United States Championship, oh man, it was so nice. It just looked so clean, so sparkly, so modern. I love the way that it looked. It looks pretty much like the men, I think, but it looks just a little bit better in my opinion. To look at them side by side. But no, I thought the announcement though was exciting because I feel like just lately we've just been having a larger conversation when it comes to the women. Of course, it's a little bit more on the NXT side of things, but the way that I see the women's division right now, I see it the strongest in terms of the storytelling and stars and all of that, and just of course you can't compare the NXT women to the main roster women because they're their main roster for a reason. But my favorite women's division is NXT, and then it's SmackDown, and then it's Raw. Just based off the feuds and storylines and things like that. So I do definitely want to see this as an opportunity, hopefully, to really start to tell more stories for the women, more than just the one for the main picture. And now maybe with this bout, we can. I don't want to see it be like the women's tag team division where it's thrown around and whoever can have it, and it's not really a big deal. I don't want to see it like that. I want to see it presented in a strong fashion, Robin, where we're seeing like stars being made of this, holding this championship. Obviously, if you're going to compare it to the men, we've seen, the Intercontinental Championship do marvelous things for the men's division and for years and years and years. I want to see that for the women's division where it's like, okay, you're not the main champion yet. You're not the WWE women's or the champion right now, but you are the United States Championship and it'll mean something.
Well, like, let's say Lash Legend or somebody like that who comes in, gets that title off rip, and all of a sudden is elevated as a result. Or, a long, hard working person who's been around and finally gets over the hump. But I mean,
this is the third time.
I'm sure I'm missing it. But if I were to just like run them down
now we find out that the
and
title
say Jade and Bianca and Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan and Nia Jax and Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton and Lash Legend on the way and Bailey and Charlotte Flair returning at some point in time. I mean, that was just 10, I think. I said, and I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Like, hey, I didn't do it on purpose, but you see how quickly I named off 10 who are heavyweight champion, title, women's champion contenders. So there's plenty to go around in order to elevate that U.S. title. And I mean, look at all the men's side. Like LA Knight was one of the most over people in the company for a couple of years, really, before he finally got that U.S. title, and he took it off Logan Paul, who has been, in a sense, a star attraction, where they're throwing in the main events. He was the main event in the Saudi card before all that.
And this could be a bout that could be, like you said, for a rising star, like a Lash Legend. But on the other hand, you have, people that are, I think the number one name so far that I've been seeing on social media, just like in my comment section really quickly, of who people want to see hold this championship bout is Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green is somebody that I think would be perfect, right? Because, she is someone that personally, I know some people have their doubts because of her comedic character. Maybe they do, maybe they don't see her as a, WWE Women's Champion. I personally see her there, but because she is that comedic character, I think that you could utilize her as a United States champion. And she's such a good wrestler. She's a different kind of a women's wrestler. So I do think Chelsea Green would be a great option. Another person that I do want to name is Naomi. You mentioned someone that's been there, that's been hustling, but necessarily hasn't gotten their due just yet. Of course, we've seen Naomi hold other championships before. She's gotten, runs in different bouts and whatnot, singles and tag. but I do think it's been a long time since she has really been at the forefront of the women's division. But she's been there. She's consistent. She's constantly entertaining. Has a unique look. She's got fans. I feel like Naomi's another person that I can see be Women's United States champion. So like right off the bat, you name some names, I
Again,
name some
we're
names.
gonna
There
look another
are
day. But a lot of
options
people
for
don't
this
want to
ballot, and so it's
Some people
exciting to
people
see
done back
what they're going
WrestleMania.
to come of it and what they're
Think
going to
about
do
again,
and what's going to
this
come of
now
the
the
United States
847,
Championship.
the
And
seventh.
they didn't really announce
We
details
have a
just
few.
yet in terms of like, is there going to be a tournament? Oh, when's the tournament? What, is there going to be qualifying matches? Like, how is this going to play out? How many people are in it? When is the United States Women's Champion going to be crowned? We still don't have any of those particular details. We just know the belt is here and the belt is happening. So let's go ahead and get into these super chats here because we got a lot of people coming in with their thoughts. Thank you so much to everybody ahead of time. We got Kevin Blaker here who kicked us off saying just when Sammy is out, they pull him right back in. Oh, baby. I cannot wait to get into the Sami Zayn conversation of this, Robin, but just a little tease here. We know that this is a favorite when it comes to the bloodline story. Like, this is the dessert portion of the bloodline.
Well, I was sad. Even I knew he wasn't doing it solo team, but even just the thought of it made me sad. Like, I felt it inside my gut. I was like, no, this can't. And I like the way they did it too. I think they still have to explain,
I know why.
the journey a little bit. There still needs to be some loose ends tied up because at the beginning he was like, you got to apologize to Jay, and Roman never did. But I like the fact that they're carrying over some of Roman's persona from the previous era, that he didn't just come back and totally change man. He is still like, driven by that pride, maybe a little paranoia, whatever the case may be, and didn't want to put Sammy over in that, or even really put Jay over. He looked annoyed when Jay's music hit, when he was about to start talking there. But by the end, Sammy comes out, makes the save, I guess, proves his worth again, and you see them all throwing up. And that's just like, I mean, there's a case to be made that the Sami Zayn era of the Bloodline is as entertaining as pro wrestling has ever been since its inception. Like,
dude, Sami Zayn's been my favorite, like just across the board. But then when he added this, he added a more sentimental part to the bloodline because everybody here has a soft spot for Sammy. I can't imagine anybody here hates Sami Zayn, especially in the bloodline storyline. I think he really, humanized the story because yes, you had the whole, element of family drama, right? That within itself is, very realistic. We've all had family drama, but when it comes to Sammy, I think he connected to people in a different way, and so he made us look at this story a different way. We even saw Roman Reigns of the relationship that he had with Sami Zayn, and same thing for the Usos. And so, of course, looking back at that time period, it was very fun. So, of course, even though it's not that long ago, we still sort of get this like nostalgic feeling, even though it wasn't like 5 years ago, right? But we still get that feeling. We got Luis Arturo Mendez here who says, I love that WWE is introducing a mid card title for the women, but why not make it a different from the men's title? WWE is very corporate. We know that. And I think they like things to be very much in line with each other and parallel of each other when it comes to the championships and whatnot. So I do expect WWE to make it pretty much similar to the men's championship instead of making it an entirely new design. That's just like their MO.
Talk about them being corporate. I just received a promotional email from WWE. Just dropped bold new bloodline gear. All of the stuff was on sale. What time did they send these things out? 10, but that's title belt.
Well, it's hard because anything that has like the United States flag, we're gonna think Cody Rhodes too because he's like got that stuff wrapped all over him. But then also the white belt, the white strap, excuse me. He's got the white coat. He's got the white hair. So I know how you like to look at that and see Cody Rhodes in it. It's just like going to trigger certain memory points.
Yeah, I guess so. Cody Rhodes, but he's that baby face. I saw the article about her. Somebody internally was saying they were happy about his title reign and how
they were fucking lazy.
Comparable to John Cena in a sense.
I think
But those colors are a little bit
Can we change the design
easier to match with than the Skittles colors, as the Rock used to put it.
I did not know. I don't know if it'll be before or after Survivor Series.
What if you did it with The Rock and then Heyman? Like, what if The Rock, the next time he returns, he's interrupted by Paul Heyman?
Ooh. That would be kind of sick, by the way. That would be kind
That's
of
why
sick here.
that's why I'm suggesting it, because it would be sick.
I would love that. I actually really would love that. Okay, sorry. I was just trying to read if we had any clarification on the Raw and SmackDown bit of it here, but I'm gonna have to rewatch that whole video. All right, we got Steven here who says happy the women will have a second title, especially if the champion would cross between brands defending the title. Chelsea Green would be great as the first. Yeah, again, I understood it that they will be able to cross brands here. But I guess I'll double check that afterwards
Then
on
we got
whether
the
or not that
Candy
is the
Coast.
deal. But I
Fucking
prefer
tired
it
of
if
you.
they did cross brands. I think it would keep things fresh and it would keep things a little bit more exciting and give people more options on that end of things. We got thank you so much, Stephen, and I also agree with you on Chelsea Green being a potential first US champion. Anthony Giuliano says is the Rock the fifth member? We did have a little bit of a tease today with the bloodline stuff. So let's get into it and what went down with the bloodline. We kind of had a little bit of everything. So we had a bloodline segment essentially open and close the show. They kicked things off with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso basically going out there and being there with Jimmy and with Roman. And during this, we have Sami sort of tried to get Roman to admit that Roman has a soft spot for him, that Roman loves him. He even tells him, I think you love me. Like, just tell me. And it was so funny because before he even got to that line, Robin, I was thinking like some of the words that Sami Zayn was using in his promo. I was thinking, damn, this reminds me of a love song. Like, why am I thinking of a love song right now? Just a lot of verbiage that he was using. And then he comes out with, I think you love me. And it was so freaking funny because this is like a serious story, right? These are serious men. And this is what we're getting. I thought it was hilarious. But that was like the first portion here. How did you feel about that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, I do wonder if they're going to circle back to it at all because Roman wasn't able to swallow his pride and just apologize today. But you do get that. I mean, I think they're playing on something there. You get that sense watching the interaction with Roman and with Sami that it activated a different part of Roman, and I believe if I'm not wrong or mistaken here that it was actually Roman, like beyond the kayfabe, who suggested that Sami be a part of that story. Like he was a fan of his work in that sense and thought he could add to it. So you could see that translated on screen where they had a rapport, they had a thing, and it brought out a comedic side in Roman. Like you could really emphasize that, like the same spirit of No Heat, right? Like the way you feel about
Softened him, yes.
yeah, and Roman could drop that stuff, seem annoyed, but really kind of love Sami. And that was always the thing. Like when Sami was first coming in, was he actually going to be welcomed in? Was there friction? What did he have to do to prove himself? So this was sort of the flip side of that in the way that they tried to bring them back together.
And after this, like at the end of the first segment, Roman Reigns basically was like, "No, don't feel the same way that you feel about me." I mean, it was basically a breakup here, but he basically told him like, "You're not family, you're not bloodline, you're not an honorary Uso," and completely dismissed Sami Zayn and all of this. And he says, "This isn't even about you. Because I want to talk about Solo Sikoa," and calls out Solo Sikoa, but instead we get a Jacob Fatu promo and correct me if I'm wrong, but is this one of the first Jacob Fatu promos that we got in? Because I felt like it was.
I can't remember ever hearing him speak before.
That's what he sounds like.
Yeah, see, I think I'm talking to you and your channel.
It's totally different, by the way. Totally different. In the interview, he's like, yeah, like very chill and all of this, and in the promo, he's like so serious.
But that fits the vibe of the killer, right? Look, yeah, I mean, I thought that was effective. I think you can
look how great he was.
if you
Look how
want,
protected
but you can hear the
he was
crowd.
undefeated. He
Right,
was
like
dominant. He
you
was
can hear the crowd.
undefeated. Look how protected.
Solo got really.
That's what you should. That's what
We
you
can
should
say
do with
whatever
Jacob
we want.
Fatu.
He
He
got
should be
really. The
protected.
crowd
He
is
should be
giving it
winning
to
all
him,
his matches.
and
He
he's
should
the
be
spirit, I think,
undefeated
of the show. And not to mention Sami Uso. The pops for Roman Reigns when he comes out. I don't know if you noticed, but Roman's OTC shirt said "Yeet," in the top corner of it.
No, I didn't
Yeah,
notice that. So it's a new
that's-
shirt then.
Oh yeah, that
And
joint's
one
gonna
on
go
his
like
message.
quadruple
Jacob
platinum.
52 has not
Uh,
been pinned or submitted
OTC
since
was,
coming to
he
SmackDown.
is-
They should have done it like
He's not gonna be
Scrabble.
pinned
You
or
could have
submitted.
Yeats coming down and then OTC going across.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm a player, everybody.
Solo, they're into Roman, obviously. Sammy, they're freaking into Jay like hell. That's a lot of over people in one program. And if you throw a Rock in there, I mean, that might lead the league. I don't know if you've ever seen as many over people in one faction as this simultaneously. You could argue Roman's the greatest of all time. You can argue The Rock is the greatest of all time. You can argue Jay is the most over in the company right now. And then they've developed Solo and Jacob Fatu to the point where they feel formidable. And Sammy is beloved. That's a lot to throw into one mix.
It really is. Damn it, I'm already thinking of how much money they're gonna make with those Yeet OTC shirts, by the way. It's a little bit of both worlds, right? But I loved Jay Fatu's promo, by the way. I think he called Roman Reigns stupid, if I'm correct. He did, right? Like he called him. It sounded like he called him stupid, and I found that to be utterly hilarious. But I thought he was so good. Like he came across as like super intense. Everything he said was clear and concise. I thought he got really, really good in terms of his delivery, because you gotta understand, right? Like, of course he did, MLW and stuff like that, but a lot of what he did was indies, and I don't know how many promos they had him do or not in the indies. I guess it depends on the promotions and whatnot. Sometimes they do have the wrestlers do promos, sometimes they don't. It really just depends. So of course that may not be a muscle that he's always flexing. So for him to go out there and deliver this promo, I thought they did a really, really good job with it, where like he kept you engaged throughout the entire time. And I feel like that's sort of been what's been working against Solo, where when Solo talks, you don't keep as engaged, right? Like all of a sudden you find yourself going on your
How like he's this scary character that you feel like
had a confrontation with Roman and the new bloodline, and this basically led to a complete melee and attack. And Sami Zayn didn't go out there to help out, and this closed out with the entire with Roman, Sammy, Jimmy, and Jay finally deciding, hey, we're all friends again, and throwing up the ones, man. I mean, it was an incredible freaking moment. What did you think about how they executed this closing segment?
I mean, I thought it was well done. The only thing again that was missing was, and I'm hoping that we get that later. The mea culpa from Roman or whatever. Like, okay, thanks Sammy or sorry Jay or whatever that got to there. But I did when Solo did the whole bait and switch. That's all, man. That can't be something.
Here's the image, guys.
It's now my wallpaper. I'm gonna get it laminated while you got it there. But when Sammy, the bait and switch with Sammy joining up with Solo, I knew it wasn't gonna happen, but they had me first. Like they had me going, nah, they're not really gonna do it, right? Nah, they're not really gonna do it, right? And Sammy sold it with his facial expressions well. So it was enough there that made you go, nah, they're not gonna really do it. To pop when he kicks Solo in the face, and then to pop when they throw up the ones, of course. And like I don't usually, Denise, stop and take a picture of something on my TV for his phone, but
Oh my god.
he would have done some of his shtick and he would have went home. But the fact that he came out and said nothing said a lot, right? It showed that he is going to be around for future plans, whatever they may be. I can't tell you if it's WrestleMania. I can't tell you what it is, but it is something. So that has to be paid off, and it makes sense. So if either it's going to be a new member of the bloodline that's like, oh my gosh, there's another ton of, or it's going to be The Rock, and it certainly makes sense. And if you have Sammy on that other side after that switch there, throw The Rock in with that bloodline, and that's box office, baby.
Yeah, because right now on the seesaw, like you have really stacked up one side, and the other side, much as we love Fatu, he can't replace Roman. He can't make space for Roman or Jay or Jimmy or Sammy. Like you gotta add a little bit more on that end. But we got Anthony Giuliano here, who also sends in another super chat saying the question is, who will be the first champion? And this is in regards to the United States Championship for the women. My official picks, Robin, I said were Chelsea Green or Naomi. Who are your official picks?
I like the Naomi pick. That's an interesting one. Like a good way to like sort of, pay off all the work she's done for so long. So I'm rocking with that pick. I like both those picks though. I mean, I think there's a Lash Legend. Actually, let me make a different one. Just a Lash Legend would be my pick.
All right. Stephen Marjuli says, Denise and Robin, who should be the first women's U.S. champ? I love how everyone's studying this, and we probably should have waited to get to the super. Like this update. On from now.
Or else, you don't announce it until, January or February or something. But
you know what would be cool? What about Saturday night's main event? That could be something to kind of add to the pay-per-view.
Maybe that could be the main event. Is the end of the tournament.
I would like to see that. So maybe something a little sooner. That's happening on December 14th. So that gives them plenty of time to do that. So I'm gonna, even though I love your idea of the Elimination Chamber, it just seems a little too far. So I would go with Saturday night's main event, or they could do Survivor Series. That'd be great too. But we'll see what they do. If it's not Saturday night, if you want to do a big pay-per-view, it would probably be Survivor Series. Thank you so much, David. We got Mr. Acosta here who says, Sammy back, Pile Driver's back, Ciampa whooping ass back, women's U.S. title here. This shit means something to me. It's so funny because Mr. Acosta here reminds me of the stuff that went down here with DIY, Pretty Deadly, and just like the whole tag team thing, the whole tag team bit. We got Motor City Machine Guns versus Graves and Waller and Austin Theory today. But my favorite thing in all of this was that Ciampa was mad. He was pissed. He was angry. Like, I like DIY, but I don't like that they've sort of just been on the show as just like whatever. Like they've just been on the show. Like there hasn't been anything besides like, okay, yeah, they have good matches, but to me there hasn't been anything to like really grab a hold of in terms of their personalities or the stories or anything like that. So seeing Ciampa once again be like pissed off, and I was kind of surprised with him finishing with them finishing off Pretty Deadly as fast as they did today. But then when I saw how angry Ciampa was, I thought I don't hate it because that's been my favorite version of Tommaso Ciampa.
Well, and they also said on the commentary he didn't even have to tag in his partner. Like he was so pissed that he didn't even have to tag into his partner. He made short work of my guys, Pretty Deadly. I hope they're not, pretty jobbers or whatever.
I mean, if they were, they would still be pretty. So
Or Pretty Den.
Oh, hey.
I guess it's got pretty in front of it better than most things. Whatever their program is going to be.
He stretchered away. I get it because Randy Orton's back and they really played that up. I think I would have preferred, just given the way that the pile driver looked, I think I would have preferred more of a massive beatdown that led to him being stretchered out. So I didn't necessarily think that this was a 10 out of 10. I thought on paper it must have sounded great in terms of execution. It didn't necessarily hit the mark for me.
Well, I think for me the only problem was the movie. I love the idea. I love the execution and everything, but it didn't hit clean. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's unfortunately
it didn't hit clean. Orton was on the shelf for however long, where doctors were telling him he was going to have to retire because his spinal cord was so damaged. So logically, it makes a ton of sense. Use a band that targets his weakened area. Orton sold the hell out of it. I thought he did a great job. The broadcast sold the hell out of it. And that's always like almost a borderline uncomfortable thing in pro wrestling when they sell an injury that hard, because then you when there's a legit injury, you find yourself wondering, you never know. It's always, pro wrestling, you never know. So it's always a little unnerving for me when they're selling a work injury as hard as they sold that injury. But Randy did a good job. Broadcast did a good job. It makes sense, both from his history and from the move being banned. The problem was the move didn't. And
that kind of just it missed them because if you're gonna tell the whole story of like, oh, he's being stretched out, right? Like it's gotta look mean, right? Like it's gotta look like, oh shit, and it didn't look that way. But hey, it is what it is. They put it out there. Had it just came out differently, then I think people would have been like, oh my god, this is so fucking cool. And there's still gonna be a lot of people that thought this was really cool. And again, like you said, I get the attitude of it, right? Like, yes, this is a guy that was out with a serious back injury, and hey, I'm so him that I'm willing to risk his life and do something so savage. That whole selling point, that's the part that's working for me. So I did think that was
sort of angle. And it also builds on what their non-match at Crown Jewel. So I think everything about it I thought was flawless, except for maybe the most important part.
David Primero here says, what will happen to the women's tag team? Speed and women's. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I have not watched one speed match. I always forget the speed matches are a thing. Have you seen
the speed champ?
No, Ricochet's on
I
there.
know.
He's not. Quiz me right now, Robin, and ask me who the speed champions are.
I don't know. So
I don't know either. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out right the F now, because this is my job and I should know. Hold on, let's find out right now. I'm curious. Can you guess? Can you even guess? I'm gonna give you 3 guesses.
Trivia champion when given hints.
Kind of ran this down a little bit, but thank you so much to Albert. I know the option that a lot of people want is The Rock, but again, it might be somebody else that we may not be necessarily expecting. So again, I'm curious because, like I said, Mark did say there are 3 people waiting in the wings. So that's the part that's kind of got me going. All right, well, let's see where we go with this.
But then who would it be on Roman's side?
On Roman's side, so who do we have?
Jimmy J, Roman, Sammy's 4. So you'd still have a 5. If it's 5 on 5, right? Let's say it's the Rock.
Cody?
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I just don't feel like. I mean, how do you leave Cody out of Wargames? Like, I get it.
Oh, but
I feel
that's if the Rock comes, right? And then Cody.
Right.
And then you really brought everything all into
If it's
one.
not Cody, then who else would it be?
I'm not sure. Have they had an allegiance or with anybody else, or an extended program with anybody else?
I don't think so.
Because Cody just did the thing with Roman. So I think it is. I think it's going to be Rock and Cody, if I had to guess. If you're telling me to bet, I'd say it's Rock on one side and Cody on the other side. And that's main event in the hell. Survivor Series Wargames.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be here doing a watch along for that. So guys, get excited. We're gonna do that. It's gonna be a good time. We got Crystal Deck here who says that Sammy Roman segment was a soap opera. It always is. It always is. We also got Steven here who says Rock joins the Bloodline. Heyman calls Brock and joins OG Bloodline. I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell is going on with Brock, guys. I have no earthly idea. So I don't even know what to think on that end.
I mean, look, I think fans, if I think that music hits, people are going to cheer. You know, if Brock comes, you know, like, and he just has that presence that you can't. And, you know, this may sound strange, but what happened this week from a political standpoint, in some ways, is covered.
The
for the
suplex.
WWE.
First of all, I was over the suplex shit
They
in 2017.
probably have
I
been
was
kicking
over
the
the
tires
suplex.
on.
Because
Did you
first
heard
of
Vince McMahon's name mentioned this week? I hadn't. When was the last time?
It also says, what is your opinion on Xavier Woods turning heel on the New Day dedicated show coming up? Dude, the second that was announced, I was like, oh shit, this is where it's happening. Because there's a New Day anniversary show. I forgot what day is it on Raw? I believe so, yeah.
It must be on Raw. Yeah.
So anyways, they're doing that. They're making sure to like emphasize it and brand it. So I feel like that we had been waiting because I've been doing these Raw watch alongs right now for a couple months. And every single week we're like, oh, is Xavier Woods turning on Kofi Kingston today? Is he turning on him today? When is it gonna happen? And it was we get little pieces here and there, and every week we think it's time. But if, for example, when they did the whole breakup with Otis and Chad Gable, like that took forever to happen, right? And then it finally did. So they definitely take their time with this stuff. So I think this could be the moment when they finally decide to, make that actually happen.
Yeah, I just like it's on the 10-year anniversary for the New Day on an upcoming episode of Raw.
They didn't say what date.
Doesn't say.
All right. Oh, I guess we'll find out. We got Rafael Garcia who says it felt rushed, but it might be a time thing. Also, you don't remember the "I Love My Tribal Chief" promo or the many "I Love You" solo. He talks a lot. He does say like a couple things here and there, but like a full-on promo with Jacob Fatu.
Tell a little.
I'm the one that called the shot.
Sooner.
I'm the one who
She's
called
another
the
person
shot.
that I
I'm
love,
the one
like
who called the
hardcore
praise.
Mia
I'm
Yim
the
on
reason.
SmackDown
I'm
has
the
been my
reason for the
absolute
new
favorite.
bloodline.
We haven't seen
I'm
too
the
much
one
of
that
her
told
since the
Solo
dumpster
he's
match,
the new
right?
tribal chief.
No.
Not you.
I
Cause
you
you
love the
lost at
dumpster match.
WrestleMania.
I
too.
love the dumpster
You
match.
lost the Cody Rhodes. That's it. You have to fail.
But
And you bring back Sami Zayn.
But I don't necessarily see the United States Championship as a belt for some Charlotte who's already so accomplished. Like that's why I didn't say Bianca Belair. That's why I didn't say Becky Lynch. Obviously, Becky Lynch is not there right now, but I'm not going to say people of that name only because those women are already so accomplished. Where we can sort of utilize this belt in a different manner.
the previous comment, sometimes people say things are announced. It was not announced what he said. It was reported.
Oh, okay. Then we'll just wait because then I don't know for sure what's going on. Got a little bit more of the stretcher job than we did in the actual like violence. But right, it was supposed is a cool thing. So I would kind of sort of like to see this as a stepping stone championship to becoming a United States Championship was for both.
All right, now let's go into the other ones. Go into the other podcasters. Joe Cronin.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Different stories. I mean, they tease and some.
All right, Salamat Sound.
Acknowledgement ceremony. One segment led into the other segment. There was a show-long storyline involving Roman Reigns refusing to apologize to Jey Uso. The one thing that Sami Zayn wanted out of Roman Reigns, if he was going to get back together with them, get the crew, get the family all back together, you need to apologize to Jey Uso. And he could not bring himself to do it. By the end of the night, they were all standing in the middle of the ring. They were throwing their fingers up in the air. And Wargames is now official for Survivor Series. Now, I thought it was a good angle. I'm going to stand by what I said many weeks ago when I said that this all felt very rushed. That's because it is. This is something that should have started a little bit earlier, and even now, it's something that they could have dragged out for another couple of weeks. Because if you look at the calendar, we still have 3 weeks left to go. 3 more Smackdowns before we even get to Survivor Series. And so there was still time yet. Because there's another member of the Bloodline who's been missing for a while now, a certain wise man. And I don't know what they have in store for him. Maybe they have something even bigger planned for Paul Heyman. But there was an easy way to get him involved in this story and have him be the conduit to get everybody back together on the same page. I thought that's where they were leading, what they did in the opening segment. And then by the time the show was over, everybody was together. They skipped over what could have been another week or two of story before we got teams all on the same page. So they didn't do that. There were some other inconsistencies that I'll point out as far as the Roman Reigns stuff is concerned. But that was the big news coming out of the show tonight. They also had a segment, which I very much enjoyed, involving Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. The two of them were supposed to have a match at Crown Jewel. That match never took place. Instead, Randy Orton came out tonight. He was not happy. He wanted Kevin Owens. One thing led to another. And what ended up happening was that Randy Orton was carried out on a stretcher. even with Cody Rhodes in the back of the ambulance going with him to the hospital. And yes, they called it hospital. How did we get to this point? What happened here? We'll talk about that, but I thought that was one of the best parts of the entire show. It was, if not the best part, one of the best parts of the show. Really, it was that and the bloodline stuff. So that was a heavy angle that they did. But there was also some news that was broken by Nick Aldis, the general manager of SmackDown, pre-tape that they inserted into the show late in the program. We had Nick Aldis talking about the women of SmackDown and how deserving they are and the hard work that they put in. And this was all to build to the announcement of a brand new championship. Now, this is something that we have talked about before on the shows. This is something that has been rumored now for quite some time. There have been women coming out who have worked for WWE, who have done interviews for years, talking about the desire to have a mid-card championship in the women's division. We already have one in NXT. But when they debuted the North American Championship for the women, I made the comment at the time. I said, this is a test. NXT gets it first. But I guarantee you, this will come to the main roster, and it won't take that much longer. I don't remember exactly when they introduced the women's North American title. Maybe it was a year ago.
I don't think they defended.
My timeline could be off.
Yes,
If it was more, it couldn't have been much longer than that.
Yeah, she had defended.
So I always
shows.
figured this was where the destination was going to. Yes. But he came on the air and he announced a Women's United States Championship. Look at what an original design. Look at this. Oh my God. I mean, I've never seen anything like this before. I understand their commitment to consistency. I get it. It says they did the same thing with the World Heavyweight title with the men and women on Raw, the WWE Championship with the men and women on SmackDown. I get it. They're all about branding. They're all about consistency. But my God, it would be nice to have an original design every now and then. I guess we got that with the Crown Jewel Championships, which now we're not going to see for another year anyway. They're going to be locked away in a vault. But there it is. That is the Women's United States Championship. It is the U.S. title with the word women's on it and on a white strap instead of a black strap. Boring, yes, but this is something that I am on board with. And I'll tell you why. Because again, we've had discussions about this many times in the past. It was not made entirely clear on the show tonight whether or not this championship is SmackDown exclusive. I would, if it were me, I would make it open to women from both brands. And I would let the champion float, which is what they do right now. As far as the women's tag team titles, right? We see Bianca and Jay going back and forth between Raw and SmackDown. I would do the same thing, at least initially, with the women's United States Championship. And then if things go well, and as time goes on and they call up more women from NXT, later on, maybe sometime early in 2025, maybe, Q1 at some point between now and WrestleMania, then they can introduce a women's intercontinental title on Raw. But I just don't see the need to introduce the women's championship on SmackDown, and then this Monday we find out they're doing the same thing with the IC title on Raw, which may well happen. I don't know if they're going to announce a secondary championship on Monday nights. If I had to venture a guess, I would say yes, that's where we're headed, because do the announcement. He's the general manager of SmackDown. If this was going to be a joint thing, we would have had an announcement from Nick Aldis and from Adam Pearce. Since there was no Adam Pearce, I'm assuming that we're talking about SmackDown. If they are going to end up having one championship on each show, though, I do think they would be better off holding off on a second one until at least January. Because we have learned that Raw and SmackDown both are expected to move to 3 hours as of January. Yeah. They're both expected to move to 3 hours as of January. And if that happens, they're going to have no choice. They're going to have to call up more people from NXT, especially for the women, because the depth right now in the women's division is really on both shows. But it's more noticeable, I think, on SmackDown. They need more depth. And if there's one thing that NXT has a lot of, a surplus of right now, it is female talent. So you can call up 1, 2, 3 different women, cut them up between shows, and give those divisions a little bit of a boost. When the shows go to 3 hours, assuming that's what happens in January, I just feel like you're not really going to have a choice. But one reason I'm also, okay with them adding another title, it might, and that's the magic word, might being the key word, help them focus more on story. When it comes to any woman or women who are involved in anything other than a program or a involving the World Championship, look at Nia Jax right now. Nia Jax is the WWE Women's Champion. She has been running around with Tiffany Stratton, teasing a Money in the Bank cash-in, right? So Tiffany has been attached to Nia at the hip now for the past few months. Now they've introduced Candice LeRae into things. And then you got Bayley still kind of, hanging around there, hoping to get another crack at the title. Everything seems to revolve around Nia's championship and the briefcase that Tiffany is carrying. I thought that the little mini feud we had recently between Michin and Chelsea Green, not that it was anything fantastic, but it was kind of refreshing because how often do they go out of their way to build to any kind of a real mid-card women's program? That thing had the big payoff match with the dumpster match. Whatever you thought of the match, at least they carved a real story around something that did not involve the World Championship. If you are going to introduce these titles, you need to have the creative to back it up. Because in the absence of good creative for something like this, these championships, let's say they have more than one, are going to be meaningless. They're not going to mean a damn thing. So that, honestly, is the most important thing. You can introduce all the championships in the world, but if you don't have anything compelling and interesting going on around them, they're useless. All that to say, I'm not opposed to them introducing a women's mid-card title, one, and let's see how it goes. We know they have a lot of women waiting in the pipeline right now to be called up in NXT. So we look at the SmackDown women's roster, and I jotted down the names of all the women that are in the division right now. And we take a look at who they have and who would make sense to be the first U.S. champion on the women's side. Well, we know Nia Jax is already the women's world champion. Okay, so we'll take her out of the equation. You have Tiffany Stratton, but she's running around with the briefcase, and I don't see her pulling an Austin Theory and cashing in on the U.S. title. So she's going to cash in for the world championship, hopefully soon. We'll take her out of the equation. If she didn't have that briefcase, she'd be an ideal candidate for that spot, but I don't think that's going to happen, and I don't think it should happen. You got Bayley, she doesn't need it. You got Naomi, you got Bianca, you got Jade. Bianca and Jade are going to be working their own program, probably heading into WrestleMania, so put them on the side. You've got Chelsea Green. You've got Blair Davenport. Whatever Blair Davenport, is she even still on the roster? We haven't seen her in a few months. You've got Candice LeRae, who I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Candice is still the women's speed champion, so she's already got her title. You've got Piper Niven, and you've got Michin. B-Fab and Elektra Lopez, they have not been used as in-ring talent on the main roster, so they're not going to be wrestling. Well, let's assume they're not going to be wrestling, okay? And I wouldn't have them holding a championship anyway. So take them out of the picture. I look at this list, and the three names that I've settled on, who I think would be good candidates for this. Naomi, who seems to always, she's always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Right? She's going to get a title match next week, as a matter of fact, against Nia. Do I expect her to win the championship? No, I do not. Although I would welcome a Money in the Bank kick. First of all, she's super talented. But Chelsea has gotten herself over organically. And we've seen it this year. When she's out there, usually the fans react, whether they're booing or they find what she's doing to be entertaining and funny. She's good enough where she has managed to get herself over in that way. She's very. I would like to see her get that spot. I think that Chelsea getting a proper run as a mid-card champion would actually make a lot of sense. Now, there's one other name I did not mention. One other name I did not mention here who is technically part of the SmackDown roster. And that, of course, is Charlotte Flair. You cannot leave Flair out of a conversation when it comes to any champion. championship on the show. Charlotte Flair, I'm sure, would love to add the United States Championship to her already very impressive resume. However, if she becomes the U.S. champion, while that would get her away from the world title, because here's the thing, everybody who is, let's say, not a Charlotte Flair fan, I don't want to see her challenging for the championship or something. What that is, though, we don't know. So we'll talk about that and everything else that happened here on this SmackDown show, because this is your Friday night SmackDown. Oh, not to scream, don't do a podcast this week. Finland. What did I just say? What did I just hear? So Roman asked him if what he just heard is accurate. And Sami said, no, I don't want you to apologize to me. I want you to apologize to Jay. Because Sami and Jay, they're boys. They're thick as thieves. One thing that hasn't changed since Jay left the bloodline is that Jay and Sami, they're like this. They're tight. So I don't have to flip back and forth.
And begin.
All right, now let me show you JD from New York. He's another podcaster that will also talk about SmackDown tonight.
Tangaloa and the menacing, the beast, Jacob Fatu. It's all set. I already hear the whispers. Oh, it's happening too soon. Oh, Sami Zayn joining them and all the dissension between the original bloodline is already squashed way too soon. We have 2 weeks to go before Survivor Series. I don't know what they plan to do. I don't know where this is going. We could obviously still see a lot of twists and turns happen in the next 2 weeks, which I'm expecting, because I fully expect Paul Heyman to be back inside the bloodline, like he usually was when he was the wise man. I will get into that in just a second, but I have to, before I do anything else tonight, I have to.
This is the big time.
Oh my goodness. We got a $100 super. Uso and Sami Zayn is nowhere to be found. Same old SmackDown ending with the bloodline standing tall, finger in the air, and we go off the air with Solo Sikoa. Just admiring his work. We started the night off with Sami and Roman, and they were there to talk because Jay wanted Sami on Friday night. He's coming over from Monday Night Raw. Sami gave his explanation. We'll go over what he said in just a little bit. He gave his explanation. I felt it. He said, you felt it. If you want me to stay, I'll be happy to stay. If you want me to go, I will leave this ring and I will not look back. But there's one thing you got to do for me. I want you to apologize. Not to Sami. Sami didn't want an apology for himself. He wanted an apology for Jey Uso. And Roman Reigns did not apologize. I'm sorry that you wasted my time on this fool. He's not family. He's not blood. He's not in the bloodline. He's not honorary. Sami Zayn didn't say anything. He just walked out. He just walked out. Jey Uso was upset. Jimmy Uso was upset. And Roman was becoming the old Roman Reigns right before our very eyes. Roman showed us tonight that after all this time, after Jay and Jimmy made up, and after Jay gave Roman his demands, and after Jimmy came back and helped Roman and wants to see family together, bonded, Roman did not change. Roman was Roman. He was the same Roman. The Roman that basically led this bloodline, manipulated this bloodline, and took this bloodline to take over WWE in his own way, in his own image. Roman didn't change. In that moment, we saw glimpses of the old Roman. All he wanted was Solo Sikoa. After what Solo did to him at Crown Jewel, he gave him a Samoan spike, and he wants his Ulafala back. That's all he wants. He wants the title of Tribal Chief back. That's all he wants. From that point on, I'm like, all right, they're going to slow play this for the next couple of weeks. And I'm great with waiting. Fine. I didn't expect Sammy to just be like, hey, man, I'm sorry. Roman's like, don't worry about it, bro. I know it was an accident. I know you didn't mean to do it. Let's go to Wargames and let's go to Survivor Series and kick their ass. No, I didn't expect that. I did not expect that. But WWE had it in the palm of their hands to slow play this over the next couple of weeks to give us a feeling of intrigue and give us a feeling of maybe there is something else going on here that is going to deviate away from the original plan. Give us some unpredictability. In the grand scheme of this being very predictable, because we all knew where it was going to go, give us a sense of unpredictability. WWE did not do that. And just like Osik, we said with his generosity here tonight, personally, I wish the Wise Man had a part in bringing the OG bloodline back together. I would have went off the air not with what they did. Not Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns holding the ones in the air, standing side by side with Jimmy and Jey Uso at the end of the show tonight. I would not have ended the show that way. I would have not. I would have not had Roman and Solo close the show already stating Wargames. I would have had Solo just sit by. The fuck does Solo need to do? What does Solo need to do and what does Solo need to say to Roman Reigns? He beat Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. There's nothing for him to prove. Nothing. Did he win fair and square? No, he did not. He won because of bullshit. Roman should have really sat with his boys and come up with a plan on how to get the Ulafala back. Roman Reigns should have come up in the locker room, in the bloodline locker room, with a way to get the Ulafala back and end this once and for all. They could have come up with Wargames. They could have made a struggle out of this with Sammy and Roman, them needing Sammy, them needing that fourth man. They did not do that. They could have made a struggle where Sammy really felt hurt. Jay fucking hurt him. Sammy thought he was coming out there to do a good thing. Roman legit. Roman didn't appreciate it. Roman doesn't care about it. You could build intrigue over the next couple of weeks for Sammy to really be on the outskirts. Roman really needing to feel humbled and kind of lower his guard a little bit to give us a glimpse of who Roman really needs to be instead of this very same typical Roman Reigns that we have used to see or have gotten used to see in 4 years now. I don't know why they didn't slow burn that.
How dare you?
They just went right for the kill. Now, I'm not saying that there won't be problems. I'm not saying that there won't be a scuffle between them or an argument between them. But the moment now is gone. And I really do think that they rushed the moment tonight. The moment was Sammy, Roman, Jay, Jimmy, and Paul Heyman. That was the moment. Now, I don't know where Paul Heyman lies in this. I would have absolutely had Paul Heyman be the one to show face and bring everybody back together after weeks of arguing, weeks of being not on the same page. I would have had Paul Heyman come back and be the voice of reason, the wise voice of reason, for him to really be humble. Roman Reigns needed his wise man to bring all of this together instead of it just happening the way that it happened tonight. Do I have a problem with the way everything went down? Not to the extent of I'm gonna bitch and moan that it's the worst thing ever. No. I think the way that they went about it was fine. But I'm just saying that they should have done a little bit more of a story to get us to where we need to go with some added twists and turns instead of just giving us Sami Zayn, giving us Roman Reigns on the same page, and having the show go off the air with the ones in the air. I felt like there needed to be more. And I felt like they got lazy. I felt like it was.
I apologize.
All right,
Not
man,
to
we
Sami.
got to announce Wargames.
Because you made your
We need to get
choice.
these teams out. I got to get the 2 teams on the poster. Stat. You could have waited. I think the fan base is pretty much in the know. I think the fan base kind of knows where this is going, so you didn't really need to do that. Survivor Series sold out. You could put a piece of shit on the fucking poster. People were already going to be in the building. So I don't know why they needed to just, got to get that Survivor Series poster up. Got to get those War Games teams all set. I just felt like the booking was haphazardly rushed. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining because I'm really not. I'm just trying to think of a better way to go about it instead of feeling the way that I do. I just feel like they went from step 1 to step 2. We got Jimmy back, right? That was step 1. He saved Roman. Jay, he's back. They went through steps. Solo cost him the Intercontinental Championship. Jay cost the Bloodline the Tag Team Championship. Jay and Jimmy are on the same page. Jay, Jimmy, and Roman are all on the same page. Yeah, I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 steps. I felt like they went through step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And they skipped step 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's like I don't really get why they just needed to get it. I don't know, man. Again, that's just from my point of view. That's just the way that I see it. We got 2 weeks left to go. We don't know what type of problems Roman, Sami, Jay, and Jimmy will have. We don't know what type of segments the Bloodline will have with Solo's Bloodline. We don't know if we're going to see The Rock. We don't know if there's going to be an injury angle or something else to throw a wrench into the unpredictability. We don't know if we're going to see Paul Heyman. We don't know. We also don't know if it's going to be 5-on-5 or 4-on-4. Now, WrestleVotes, if you guys listen to WrestleVotes or keep a tab on WrestleVotes, one of the best places to get your news in the entire community. They actually broke. A lot of people had a problem with it. I didn't really give a shit personally. A lot of people had a problem with them breaking the United States Women's Championship being unveiled tonight. Don't go on social media. Stop bitching. They reported that it's pretty set in stone that it will be 4-on-4. 4-on-4, it will be War Games, Bloodline versus Bloodline, 4-on. Solo did make a mention that it could be 5. Roman said, well, I only see 4 of you. So I don't know if they are teasing a 5th man. I don't know if they're teasing an extra guy on both sides. I don't. But that was kind of weird the way that they went about it. You would think that, just by the optics of it, we got 4 on one side, we got 4 on the other. That's enough for a War Games. But who knows? Maybe WWE wants to go 5-on-5. If that is the case, who will be the 5th man on each side? Now, only one name stands out that makes any sense whatsoever, and that name is Dwayne Johnson. Now, I don't see Dwayne Johnson, I don't see The Rock competing inside a War Games match at this stage of his career, so close to WrestleMania, risking basically everything and flushing WrestleMania down the toilet. I don't see that happen. God forbid something happens in there and he gets hurt. We don't need that happening. That would fucking ruin everything. Because I know he's going to be in the main event of one of the nights of WrestleMania. Who would be the 5th man for Roman? Nobody really jumps off the page. Nobody really jumps off the page at all. Unless WWE, once again, is going to tee Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns up one more time. Now, he has nothing to do with the Bloodline right now. He's got his own problems with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. But maybe Cody Rhodes is the fifth man. It's basically his father's match. Cody Rhodes would be in there teaming with Roman against The Rock. The Rock showed up at the end of Bad Blood and basically gave the throat slash to Jimmy Uso, Cody Rhodes, and Roman Reigns. Did we see something along the lines there?
Not the one.
I see the chat already asking Zilla Fatu. What about Len Hawaii? What about Hikuleo? Nobody knows who these fucking people are. You're throwing random names in a War Games match, and you're expecting the WWE audience to know. No. They've had no proper introduction on the main roster. Nobody knows who they are, and they're not even a part of the actual story. They're part of the family. They're not a part of the actual story.
They're part of the family.
I'm just trying to think out
They're
loud
part of the
logically.
family, but not part of the
Who
story. You
Could
never
be a
sense.
fifth man. I don't think they will go that way because I think it's perfect the way it is. I don't think you need to add more on top of what we already have. But it was mentioned tonight. So I have to bring it to discussion. Is there going to be a fifth man? I hope not. It's fine the way it is. But if there is, there's nobody else that makes sense but Rock and Cody. Now, speaking of Cody, Cody left the building with Randy Orton. Randy Orton stormed out in Buffalo to the ring, and he called out Kevin Owens. Or we could get Seth Rollins. I'm going to read this one right now. $7.99. Dan, the Cards fan, 47, with a $9.99 super chat. He says Seth freaking Rollins. I could absolutely see it. I could absolutely see that. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but that's a good plan B if Cody can't do it. Which I'll cycle back to that in a second. Thank you, Dan. That's a very wise man of you to come up with that. Cody left the building with Randy Orton because Randy Orton stormed out to the ring and he called out Kevin Owens, who did come out, and they brawled. The brawl didn't last long. They threw some punches. Kevin Owens kicked below the belt, and then he delivered a pile driver. Yes, WWE allowed Kevin Owens to do a pile driver on television. A pile driver that left Randy Orton with a neck contusion. A neck brace was put on Randy Orton, and he was ushered out of the building on a gurney, loaded into the back of an ambulance, and rushed to the hospital. Cody Rhodes left the building, and he left in the ambulance with Randy Orton. I will touch upon why I think the was very effective, and why less is more. Tony,
Well, we just found out that going with it.
wink, wink.
It's not 30.
But are we setting up Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens for the WWE Championship at Survivor Series? I don't know. It certainly looks that Randy Orton was written off television for now to sell the effects of this injury for now. Are we getting Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship at Survivor Series? I don't know. If Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens is the direction for the WWE title at Survivor Series, and there is a fifth man for War Games, it could absolutely be Seth Rollins. Now, again, I don't really think it should be a fifth man on each side. I think 4-on-4 is fine. But then you begin to ask yourself, well, what is Seth Rollins going to do at Survivor Series if he's not in anything else? Could we see Seth Rollins versus Bronson Reed at Survivor Series? Or WWE go and do that at Survivor Series in a ambulance match or some sort of stipulation match? I don't know. It is very unpredictable to pick out what WWE is going to do. This is why I think right now what we got going on Friday night seems to be the most interesting thing happening in WWE. You don't know which direction they're going to go. Cody versus KO seems to be the idea. Wargames is seemingly set. We have the potential for a 5-on-5. If so, who is it going to be? Because it was mentioned tonight. It was mentioned. But a lot of interesting developments happening on SmackDown. Randy Orton was taken out by Kevin Owens. Bloodline versus Bloodline is set. Sammy is now once again Usi with the Bloodline. And WWE has unveiled a Women's United States Championship. How is this going to work? I don't know what you guys heard, but I heard that Michael Cole said it will be both Raw and SmackDown women competing over the United States Championship. Does that mean it's going to float like the tag team titles? Does that mean it's going to be a United States Championship that is featured on Raw and SmackDown? I don't know if I heard that. You guys let me know what you heard. But I will certainly talk about that on the show tonight. This is something that I do think is needed. But I don't think that the WWE Women's Division needs to add another championship on top of what is already there. This only works if you do addition by subtraction. It's the only way it works. But I heard it will be a floating title on Raw and on SmackDown. Which then begs the question, I don't know why we need two sets of men's tag team championships, because that is the weakest division on the men's side that WWE has right now. It may be the weakest division in the entire company. I don't know why they haven't done that with the same set of rules for the women, for the men. I don't really understand it. So we're going to talk about all that. We had a very newsworthy SmackDown tonight. I thank you guys so much for joining me here on Off the Script. We got a lot to talk about. And before we get into that, let's check the chat. We got two. He did not do any shenanigans. He did not seem happy. So I love the fact, aesthetically, the vibe of Jey Uso. He showed up there and he meant business. It was not time to yeet tonight. So there was no yeeting by Jey Uso.
All right. I think I'm gonna stop the video right now. I think I made this long enough. I just want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support. Hit that like button, leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. I will be back with more Batman Arkham Knight. I will be doing Mafia 3. I'm gonna do that walkthrough pretty soon. Hopefully I will do some more Grand Theft Auto 5 online videos. Now, as for SmackDown, it was a decent show. The build for Survivor Series Wargames is coming up. I can't wait. Now I can't wait for Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw is gonna be live since they're going back to the States. Now, about to end the video, so I guess I'll see you guys later. But actually, wait a minute. Wow. Hold on. Yeah, I just wanted to show this for a minute. OG Bloodline reunited. There's the Women's US Championship. Now there's AEW Rampage. Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns are in. Alright. Might as well just end the video. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.